Day 2, we got Ostkaka versus Super J coming up for you guys. And while we've seen a lot of Druid, a lot of Shaman, a lot of similar lineups, I think this is the first time where we have what is very likely going to be an exact mirror match. What's your take on this?
Yeah, we did have similar classes multiple times over for our previous matches, but the interesting choice here is that Rogue seems to be a lot more popular than we thought. It's, in fact, very widely picked. Now, that shouldn't surprise some people because when they look at guys like SuperJJ, it's like he's a rogue player. Like that's his
Mhm.
favorite thing, you know. Even some of these other people, like Ostkaka, loves playing rogue. Is actually one of his decks for the World Championship run he made last November.
Yep.
So this shouldn't surprise some of these players who are really in love with that deck. Rogue is always more of a class that people associate higher skilled players with, just because it's also like a masochistic thing. It's like once you're committed to rogue, you're just kind of there. It's not really like an open relationship. It's very exclusive. So
I feel like Rogue is one of those decks where you see a lot of people like compare their plays to like some of the other actual Rogue players.
it's
It's like, oh,
true. It's
I got
totally
that
true.
wrong. I got that wrong. I got
Yeah.
that wrong. It's like, what is he doing? And then he wins the game. I'm like,
Yeah.
damn, I got a lot left to learn.
It's
Uh,
so black and white with these guys. They're so strongly opinionated. Super JJ is always like, yeah, like he was we were sitting at Gamescom and he was watching some plays and he was just like, that's complete like 100% wrong. There's just no scenario where that's correct. And I mean, these guys are very opinionated, of course. That's part of what makes them very drawing as their personalities. But I'm curious if they've got anything tricky up their sleeve because I also know Super JJ's one of his big claims to fame on the ladder was playing Malygos Miracle Rogue, and not necessarily the oil variant that people are tweaking these days to play in this tournament.
yeah, I think that can work. I've been on the receiving end of a Malagos combo from a rogue recently, and it didn't feel very good. And most of the cards involved are legal in the semi-standard format that we have in this tournament. And we'll have to see. Um, One thing I am maybe a little bit surprised is there's been like no variation on shamans, right? Like the only kind of tweaks came from Forsen, and his deck didn't really pull through with the use of the unbound elementals. While I thought that was pretty good, I thought we'd probably see like a mid-range shaman or something. I mean, most of the good mid-range shaman cards are classic and TGT. That's when they got like the biggest buffs. So I mean, you kind of have most of the structure of the better cards involved. So I thought someone would maybe take a shot, but we've seen a lot of shamans and we've seen none of those. So I don't know.
Well, if Archon and crew really wanted it, they should have invited Ping Ping Ho.
Oh yes,
Oh,
yes,
what?
Thunder
Oh my
Bluff
God!
Valley.
How did you know?
All right,
Beforehand, didn't you?
no idea.
Dude, that's so funny. I can't believe you predicted it. You're a god. How did that even happen? It's like, okay, well, first of all, mid-range shaman, the reason why I would have counterpointed you was that even though, it feels like it'd be pretty good against Druid, it's susceptible to a lot of other things. Like if your opponent's playing aggressive stuff, mid-range shaman generally struggles against those fast burn things. And if you look at in the past, it was like Hunter, and aggro shaman is taking that place as the Hunter deck. So I feel like on paper the aggro shaman would get the edge over the mid range shaman, but maybe Super JJ takes the approach like I don't care, maybe and it's like and try to see if I can win other matchups and just let the aggro shaman through.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, it is Super JJ that I think is bringing the mid-range shaman. I know that he's been one of the players in recent times that has brought like new deck lists to tournaments, and it has suited him very well on like the turn of metas and expansions.
Yep.
I think he did very well. I think he actually won one of the Seat Story Cups on the back of like Reno Freeze Mage or something. And
Are you
that
trolling me, Crip?
no.
Oh no, you're okay. Never mind. No, yeah, you're absolutely right. I thought you were just poking fun at me because he beat me in the tournament with that freeze mage.
Oh,
Basically.
okay,
To
yeah.
get to the top four to it, but yeah. Yeah, he did. It was really cool, and that was like the first playable wing of the League of Explorers, and he took a big gamble in doing it. And that's what makes JJ a really cool and compelling player, right? He's willing to take these big risks, like playing a mid-range shaman. What? This deck is dead. We had a moratorium a few months ago in honor of our friend Thrall, who is now being called Rexar for short. But
oh god, that juggle's huge. This game is done. We're gonna see more of this mid-range shaman soon enough, I believe.
No, he's got the totem golem. Oh no, he's overloaded.
No, he's got nothing.
God. Yeah. Okay. He has the Argent Squire.
Yeah, nothing. He's gonna get feral spirited. That juggler's gonna do like another 12 damage this game.
Oh man.
It's brutal.
Yeah, and everything's like lining up really well. The Feral Spirits on turn 3 exactly, so that way on turn 5 you have the mana to play Doomhammer.
Yep. Yeah, it's ridiculous. This is like the most crushed we're gonna see a player get by this shaman deck.
But to be fair, this is kind of exactly what we were talking about. Like, this is probably its worst matchup, and maybe Jay just like, okay, screw it. I'm just gonna try to catch the Druid with it. And if the shaman wins, the shaman wins. I can't really beat that shaman.
Flame tongue, no.
I don't know if Flame Tongue actually would even save him much.
Oh, it would.
Unless he picks up Lightning Storm. Oh, that's a pretty reasonable card.
Okay.
If he rolls high on some of this Lightning Storm stuff, he might be able to climb back into it, because you have to be imagining that if you can't play Healbot, you have a Healing Wave in the deck, right?
No, look at that damage, dude. That's 10 damage this turn.
The Healing Wave negates the Doomhammer's effect, man. You just heal back up to 20.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, maybe. He's going to have to get a ridiculous Lightning Storm, and then he's going to have to taunt in front and hope that that Ostkaka never draws any relevant spells. And if all of those things happen, then yeah, maybe. Never
say never. Ostkaka, by the way, has been flying a little bit under the radar just because he went so hard into the BlizzCon World Championships that he decided to take a little bit of a breather and not go too hard into other tournaments. I know people were expecting to see him a little bit more. He did play in a few other things.
Oh, spell damage! That's a board clear!
That's a board clear! Guaranteed!
Oh, he fought every single one anyway.
So, now he has Defender of Argus, and he has Feral Spirits.
Yeah, this really could work.
Doomhammer can't get through very conveniently, because the Divine Shield as well, you have to ping that.
Mm-hmm. He's on 4 mana, so he can't do any shenanigans like double Feral Spirit. I think Argus is probably the best play, and I think you want to hit it on the totem, spell damage totem, not the Mana Tide. You want to keep drawing.
Crap, the dream is alive! 2 Feral Spirits? He needs elementals. Oh my goodness, that's nasty.
That's lethal. Your dream was killed while you were giving your speech.
Oh god, is this what they sang about when Anne Hathaway was singing in Les Mis? It was specifically this scenario, I think, she had in mind. My god, exact lethal! Not even a close.
Yeah.
But he had it. He had like the 2 Feral Spirit Wolves. He had an opportunity to add some burst with Rockbiter. I assume he has Doomhammer in his deck as well. Oh my goodness.
I think there's only one way that he would stay alive that game, and that was if instead of the spell damage totem on the turn before, he got a taunt totem, and then he Argus the Mana Tide.
But what if he would have to have rolled?
Oh, actually, if he Argus the Mana Tide, he would have stayed alive.
Yeah, you're right. But who do you play specifically around Lightning Bolt, Earthshock, and Rockbiter? It has to be those 3 because Crackle's no longer an option.
Right. But if you ask chat, they would. So chat would have just played much better. Yeah, they would have known.
Plays from SuperJJ, man. I don't even get it.
All right, another mirror match here is going to be Rogue. We see the Auctioneer on one side, the Malagos on the other. I'd imagine where there's Malagos, there are more Auctioneers. So we're probably going to see very similar play styles from these Rogue decks, even if there's only Malagos in one of them.
Yeah, pretty awesome to see some Rogue mirrors. It just takes me back to the old days where there's so much small nuance. With this matchup specifically, a lot of the early game damage does matter because very quickly you're going to have to evaluate how you race your damage. Because there's a big difference between eviscerating minion and eviscerating face set up for lethals. You also know healbot's not really in the equation, so the range to heal has only been limited by Farseers, and there's not even Lotheb to cut off your opponent's turn for guarantee setups. So the dynamic of the matchup has changed pretty dramatically, and one of the most interesting things that you'll ever hear a rogue player talk about is attacking on turn 2 with the dagger. There's a lot of debate on like whether or not you do or don't. And like one time I got a 5-minute explanation from RDU about why you would and why you wouldn't in specific rogue versus rogue. It's pretty interesting.
Okay. Well, Ostkaka did a snap call to attack there. I don't really think I don't really think there's much reason to play SI.
Yeah, the SI the Fan of Knives is not really that impactful this early on, and even then, late stages of the game, it's not. I think drawing is much more impactful. You already have Gadgets, and you want to hit preps. Your other cards, like the Tomb Pillager on turn 4, doesn't have it, but he definitely has options here to use the Farseer to just get back a little bit of board.
You want to use the Farseer here. You want to save the SI because the SI has a little bit more tempo now. It's going to give you more tempo when you actually played and redeem its full value.
Malygos comes in the hand, which is just too early. You'd rather have Malygos when you have like Emperor already prepared and you draw pretty deep in your deck.
God, that's a pretty crazy hand on SuperJJ's side, though. Oh, and the conceal actually makes it like equally crazy here.
Yeah, the only way you can get past it is through a Blade Flurry, and it has to have spell power usually, although JJ has 2 deadly poisons, so it's probably not as necessary.
This guy's toast.
I wonder if JJ is going to feel provoked to Blade Flurry now. He still doesn't have... Like, here's also a really interesting thing, is that you still aren't completely sure what kind of rogues your opponents are on, which changes that dynamic a lot.
I think the Farseer is definitely the play here. No, Blade Flurry time.
That means that Gadget's hand gets much better, but it's still 1 turn away. He needs a prep. He's going to Azure Drake instead, unless he picks up the prep right now.
I think it's still Azure Drake, though. No, I think it's still Azure Drake.
What? Oh, he just used Flurry and Deadly Poison. How else is he going to deal with it? He can't Lotheb.
No, I don't like it. I think you wait 1 more turn. The Azure Drake gives you a draw. Waiting 1 more turn gives you another draw. The chance to get like super ridiculous combos is so much higher if you just wait 1 more turn. I think the payout is worth it.
What if you give your opponent the turn to set up though? Like if it was Gadgets and...
Well, that's the thing. If you play Azure Drake here, SuperJJ is almost certainly going to do his own Garrison and then prep Eviscerate, and then you can actually punish that.
Yeah, assuming it worked out conveniently that way, and not like prep, conceal, and then like backstab stuff. But and now we see that JJ is at a pretty big disadvantage because Ostkaka is able to get his out much quicker. And he only plays the Farseer. He's going to try to keep his Gadgets in his hand right now so that way he can get better stuff. Sand into Deadly Poison, etc. With that Civ as well, there's going to be a lot of draws. So, going to pick up a handful of cards here this turn. And this is not looking good at all for JJ right now.
I don't like the Eviscerate, though. I kind of want to see a Cold Blood and then just try to draw into something else. Like a prep or, I don't know. I just don't like the Eviscerate. I think it doesn't work all that well.
But it does make it convenient to play other spells, or even Van Cleave, if you want to just load up 6/6. Like, if you drew a second Gadget stand, for example, it gives you expanded options.
We haven't actually played much in terms of spells. This Van Cleef, I think, is going to be a 6/6.
The Brotherhood shall...
Is it 8/8/8/8? No, 6/6. Okay.
You know, but it's okay. He has 2 Drakes and a Thalnos, so he's still going to draw deeper into his deck. The thing is that he didn't go truly off with this turn because he hit 2 minions out of 4 cards. So not exactly the most fortunate of draws for Ostkaka. Speaking of draws, there's a couple of ways to do it this turn. What do you like best?
Super JJ is 1 mana short of doing everything he wants, but if he draws a backstab, it's going to work out. If he draws a prep, it's going to work out. Well, it looks like he's going to be willing to take a little bit of extra damage here.
Yeah, prep, eviscerate. You know, the Harrison Jones destroying the weapon is also highly relevant. Rogue, a lot of its tempo that I can gain is through the weapons, and if you want to spend 2 mana to reestablish it, it's a little painful at this stage. And this is don't be fooled by the 23, 25 health marks.
Yeah, when someone dies, they're going down immediately.
Yeah, they're going so quickly, to one way or the other, so... Well...
Sap Harrison?
I mean, Harrison takes turn to develop, so if you sap it, that gives you room to play 6 mana. I don't know if I like that, because the Tomb Pillager into Thalnos is not exactly imposing.
Well, you could do, sap Thalnos. You cold blood your Thalnos, and then Van Cleef Fate 8. No, I
just all
I
in.
Hate that. I hate that. No, I don't know. It's definitely a tough play here.
It's so interesting that he's playing the Cold Blood as well. This is exactly one of the reasons why Cold Blood is just very awkward and not really consistent a lot. But if you can get it on your targets to end the game, it has such explosive potential compared to the Malygos version. So they're already splitting up their differences there. Okay, he has 2 Gadget Sands, so I think he feels comfortable being able to toss out a Shiv here. And Van Cleef by itself is not game-ending if you use it up. Backstab's not bad either.
Yeah, that's just a redraw. And a prep, that's not bad at all. Now the sequencing is important here. You definitely don't want to prep first, as you would normally want to.
Unless you have faith that you pick up sap number 2 immediately after, but it's highly unlikely.
Even then, I think a backstab moving forward is pretty worthless.
So many options.
Might be. I mean, sometimes if you can draw out the sap, you can just Malygos backstab, and your opponent has no way to deal with it, has to ignore it. Because Malygos has so much health, so if you can draw out both saps from your opponent, it usually means you can just plop Malygos if you're safe enough, and they have to go all in.
Sapped. Well, actually, no. He might draw out the second sap here.
Are you talking about Ostkaka or JJ?
Yeah, Ostkaka might sap the Auctioneer.
Okay. Well, I'm still a fan of playing the Azure Drake and then maybe even the Tomb Pillager and then trading into the Gadget Sand. I think the damage that you're trying to race with your opponent right now is not relevant because 19 is still just as high as 30.
Oh, no, there it is. That's the second sap. It's Cold Blood time.
Oh, man, he's going super aggressive. Oh, my goodness. So he's going to try to end the game here, but if a second sap is found of some capacity...
Oh, Malygos backstab, exactly what you mentioned, does deal with it perfectly well. And Ostkaka's going to have to win the game on the spot, and that's going to be hard to do. He doesn't have a sap anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
He might be able to, I just don't really see it. But it's Rogue, man. I'm sure there's some way here.
Yeah, Azure Drake still could pick up something. What if he just whipped out Sabotage out of nowhere, just completely wrecked him? Super JJ would be super salty. Okay, so he's gonna try to just go all in and race him, but
you gotta heal here, I think.
Oh. Malygos preemptively getting onto the board.
There's no damage yet, but yeah, there's going to be a few draws here.
Yeah, at least 2 off the deadly poison to prep. One flurry is just going to rock his world. Oh my god.
Man.
with an added bonus of maybe even picking up Eviscerate and doing 9 damage there, which would be lethal.
Oh, no spell though.
Oh, he's so
This
close!
guy's toast.
Oh, alright, well, how much damage does Ostkaka have? He has 4? Oh
he's
my
got
god!
it! He's got it!
Wow, what a draw! The world champ pulls out when he needs it the most. Oh man, JJ is not going to be happy about that
This
one.
guy's
He got
toast.
Malleus for an entire turn.
Yeah, his draws were terrible off that auctioneer.
Oh.
Like three mid-range minion draws.
Yeah, the second Gadget Sand, Tomb Pillager, Value Teacher. And that means Ostkaka is up 2-0.
Yeah, that's
the
a really good start when your last deck is Druid.
Druid up against, well, mid-range Shaman is not actually that great of a matchup for the Druid in the past. Maybe it's changed a lot though. We haven't, because mid-range Shaman hasn't come back for so long. You know, how it matches up against the decks that it used to be good against could be completely different. So
It's true, but I don't think Malagos Rogue is particularly good against Druid either. So I think it's a pretty big climb, and we have to have like a different frame of thinking here. I think just individually, the Druid deck is just the strongest deck in the tournament, right? So even if it pairs up well, we have to consider that the Druid deck is just on a different power level.
I agree. On the surface, but it's not like this rogue can't sneak in a win. It's got by a teacher, so it's not completely dependent on just having Malagos to end it. And the lists also vary. Sometimes it's just one by the teacher because you have so many other spells like Shivs that you don't really have room for other 4-drops. And even then, the best 4-drops are eliminated, like Pilot Shredder, Healbots, etc. Rogue's on coins, that's already a big deal, but the biggest problem is that Druid doesn't have anything to do on turns 2 or turn 3 for now. One Innervate could probably change it, but
yeah,
you're
Innervate would
not
probably
happy
be the
with
best
both.
card. It's that moment where you want to Innervate a 5-drop before playing the 4. It's perfect. That will do. That will
yeah,
do.
it'll do, but I guess it's still a little bit late because now you get to proactively go for the Tomb Pillager. And the reason why you want to go for the Tomb Pillager is because it challenges the most stats for the 5 mana. Plus, you get the coin back, which is a strong investment anyways. Harrison Jones drawing 2 more cards for the Druid. Very powerful stuff.
All right. Very proactive Harrisons.
Yeah, I like it. Ah, man, do you want to keep your Tomb Pillager alive so that you can have board tempo? But you don't. If you sap like Harrison, you're just gonna get. You're asking for trouble.
Yeah, there's no way that you can deal with it otherwise. I think just trading is fine. Or just going face is fine as well. Yeah.
That's true. If he picks up a value trade by killing the 3/3, you still have the SI7 agent. With Shiv SI7 agent is surprisingly effective next turn when I look at it.
The real decision is on Ostkaka here if he wants to start dominating the board with a Savage Combatant, or if he wants to dominate the curve the rest of the or the next few turns at least by playing the Emperor. I feel like the Emperor is maybe a little bit stronger, just a little bit.
I'm liking the Savage Combatant as well, but Emperor is almost too hard to pass when you have 7 cards in hand. One of them being Savage Roar. You have so much potential to end the game, and ultimately, because you want to combo Rogue before they get a chance to do anything, I'm definitely in favor of that. Shiv SI is only 3 damage, so it's not the clean removal you're looking for. Again, you don't want to spend your turn trading too much. You want to preserve your board as the Rogue.
I think a Sap here is fine as well. Oh, okay. Very
Pick
aggressive
up this
here.
coin.
Very aggressive.
I like it. You know, you're not going to win off the back of Gadgetzan drawing 1 more card. You're going to win off of the board getting repetitive damage. And then Gadgetzan being able to finish
Probably
off.
also You probably also want Sap against the Ancient of War. Like, that's been in almost every single Druid list that we've seen so far. Maybe actually every single Druid list we've seen so far. No Black Knight yet. I guess
No Black Knight.
I've been wrong about that one. I thought someone would bring it.
Well, what do you play Savage Combatant now? You have enough to clear the board that way. Savage Combatant, Hero Power, and a Wrath. But you do know that's Malygos. I mean, you've gotten some pretty good information. So it's like you're less afraid of things like big board tempo stuff and then sprinting to refill the hand. You just have to worry that your opponent has a Gadget Sands and ultimately gets like the conceals. This play is pretty good.
Yep, clears the board. There is going to be an answer here from SuperJJ.
Oh man, that's one of the best cards you could have asked for here. Because he didn't really have very good play this turn otherwise, and now he gets 1 mana Shiv. Shiv has been unnerfed, Crip.
Nerf. So many of these rogue cards have been nerfed. Like Backstab, Shiv, SI7. Headcrack was nerfed, by the way.
Yeah, Conceal's been nerfed as well.
Conceal was 0, right?
Yeah,
or
and
was it forever?
Still.
Oh, was it 1 mana and was it
No,
permanent stealth?
I think it was 0 mana for sure.
You think it was 0 mana permanent stealth? Oh, jeez. I thought it was 0 mana 1 turn stealth.
Yeah. I really like this play. I like going face because he doesn't have heal bots. There's no ways you can really stop him from doing double Druid Claw charge, or even Savage Combatant, Hero Power, Druid Claw, so he can conserve his burst if he needs to. But right now, JJ is on a 1 turn to win. And with 1 mana remaining, I don't really see what he can do. Or sorry, 2 mana remaining after the Gadget Sand. He's got a Shiv face, but it's looking likely like it's the end of the series.
Yeah, like, he has to kill him, right?
Yeah. And this is a good application of Force of Nature Savage Roar because so many people are used to seeing it as the finish.
Just threw in the towel there. He had a few more draws and combos and stuff, but I think realizing that there's just no way to pull out a way to not lose next turn. He just keep it up. 3-0. Not what I expected from our first mirror match, in terms of classes at least. It turns out it wasn't quite the mirror match we were expecting.
Not at all,
but
Trip.
Very dominant performance from Ostkaka. Ostkaka will be advancing to the winners round, but we still have one more preliminary match to go. It will be Life Coach versus Zele. And, with that match, we would have then seen the complete list of what all the players have brought to the tournament. And what do you think so far? You think there's maybe a place with mid-range shaman or the one of decks or?
Oh my god, I'm gonna take an honorary. I'm gonna pour one out for the mid-range shaman in the middle of the break, Crip, because that one was just we got our time machine and went way back. That was a throwback deck. It's Thursday, right? Throwback Thursdays. You just saw one. Mid-range shaman.
And it was just like the last time we played it, right?
Back. Yeah.
Just like the last time we played it. It gets absolutely mercilessly crushed by aggro decks.
Just like the good old days.
Just like the good old days.
Thanks, SuperJJ, for that trip down memory lane. But you know what? He's not eliminated. He will be playing the loser of this match coming up here, Life Coach versus Zele. So stay tuned. We want to give a shout out to our sponsors as well. The Curse Network, Geek Fuel, Hearthpode, as well as the Innkeeper, which for people who's coming into the stream a little bit late, we're talking about it. It's a tool made by the folks at Hearthpode that lets you sync your card collection, helps spotting what cards you're missing when you're building the decks. So that way it's really useful because we're getting more deck slots eventually, but right now you're still stuck with 9. So for the meantime, check it out if you guys really want to continue to help yourselves while building your decks pretty effectively. In the meantime, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, our 4th match and the final match of the preliminary. Stay tuned.